New study out that covers the reality check of California's $20 minimum wage. How California's wage mandate fractured the fast food economy. What happened? 19,000 people in the fast food industry lost their jobs, and menu prices spiked 14.5%. And those who still have a job have had their hours cut, their income reduced, because companies can't make a profit paying an hourly wage that isn't in line with the economics of the industry. But hey, socialism works for those who don't. Let's get into it. Here we go. I'm going to read you a tweet from Mario Knopfel. California's glorious worker empowerment. Oh, yeah. Experiment is now official. Since the $20 minimum hit in April 2024, we're a year and a half in, state has erased more than 19,000 fast food jobs. Let's see. Gone. 19,000 jobs. Over 25% of all fast food jobs lost in the entire United States. Boom. Gone. Because, bump that minimum wage to the point where businesses couldn't make a profit, and they said, closed. Hours slashed, overtime banned, mom and pop stores closing or flipping to kiosks because they can't afford the Newsom tax. Prices up 14.5% on average. Oh, that's amazing. A combo meal that was $11 is now $18 to $22. Families who used to grab a quick bite after soccer practice are now eating at sit-down joints or just staying home with ramen. I rarely go to fast food, and especially in Seattle. It has gotten so expensive because they jacked up the hourly just like California, and you're left with, why would I go there if I can go over here and get a much better dining experience and better quality of food? Why would I do that? I'm going to pay a little bit more, obviously, because it's better food. But why would I do that? Or just staying home with ramen? That's what I'd end up doing. Eat out very, very infrequently now because it doesn't make sense. It just, in Washington State, it just doesn't make sense. It's too expensive, right? And you're like, nah, I could go to Trader Joe's and get my, I got to, heat it up myself, but I can put most things in a microwave. Chains are installing kiosks and AI-driven drive-through faster than you can say, would you like fries with your unemployment? That's a good one. Wendy's, McDonald's, and El Pollo Loco. Polio. That's not a good name for a restaurant. Already testing robots because Gavin made humans too expensive. And that's where, we've got a socialist that's become mayor of the city of Seattle, where I'm from. And she's already said, we're going to tax big business. We're going to tax wealthy people. We're going to, workers of the world unite. And she's already, before she's even taken office, taken a shot at Starbucks by telling people don't consume at Starbucks. They're not playing ball with our strike we've got going because my neck, my back, my paycheck is lack. And they want more money. Even if it doesn't work, just like Newsom did, it doesn't work. The math isn't mathing, right? But the best part of the workers still employed are making less money total because their hours just got gutted harder than the wage went up. So their hours come down and impact them far greater than whatever it was that they got, and going from $15 to $20, whatever that gap is, right? Doesn't work because you've mandated something where the economics can't, that equation doesn't equate. It doesn't make sense. The math doesn't math. And so companies will say, nope, closed. Or, automation? You betcha. And I talk about this. How hard would it be to pull up to a, drive-through window at Starbucks, and the computer asks you, hello, Mr. Reynolds, because, they, from my driver's license, the plate on my car, they know who I am. Of course, Mr. Reynolds, would you like your normal order today? And I would say, yes, I would. And then a robot arm would reach out the window when I pull up and do it to me, give it to me. And I would just drive off because it would be one of those Amazon deals where they've already got your debit card on file and everything is just automatic. How far do you think we're off from doing that? Not that far. We already do it at major sporting events. You got a credit card on file. You got an account on your phone. The kiosk thing reads that you do. They let you in through the turnstile. You get your beer. You get your whatever it is. And then you walk out. You don't pay. It's already on your account. Yeah, we're entering the age of 2001. Hal, open up the pod door, Hal. No. Meaning Newsom handed unions a trophy, handed BlackRock cheaper real estate when the leases default, and handed every working class family in California the bill while he sips Napa Cabernet and pretends this was progress. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's fantastically delusional is what it is. We're gonna make those, we're gonna make the wealthy pay their fair share. Meaning you're gonna tax businesses, the same people we're talking about here who are employing people. We're gonna tax big business. Well, then big business is gonna leave your community, your county, your state, whatever it is. And that's already been ongoing, right? If you tax, folks selectively, they're going to say, no. And that's essentially what this is. This was a mandated minimum wage in an environment that it didn't work. And so big companies, they've got the resources, fast food companies, they've got the resources to make those adjustments. All right. So our labor wage went from this. Okay. So now we're going to eliminate that. We're going to do an investment in technology. We're going to do an investment in AI. And we're going to have that robot arm that, brings out that drink to you, that hands me my bacon, sausage, whatever it is, breakfast sandwich, because I don't get coffee. And I'll say, thank you. And I won't have to have that awkward conversation with the person at Starbucks. It'll just be automatic. It'll be boom, like that. Now you might say, well, they can't pour the coffee the way I like it. Try it. I bet you a computer can. Because it's just pouring ingredients into something, right? Getting the right temperature. Tell me a computer can't work that out. I mean, it's accelerating the speed at which automation is taking place. Because these businesses are like, we were fat, dumb, and happy doing what we were doing. We're making a little tiny bit of money over and over and over and over and over in so many different transactions that we were able to make it go. But with this kind of mandate, when you monkey with the economics of a business owners either shut down or they adjust. And that's what fast food is doing. 19,000 workers, boom, done, gone, out of there. In the sprawling drive-thrus of Los Angeles and the suburban strip malls of Sacramento, a grand economic experiment has collided violently with the cold reality of the ledger. California's Assembly Bill 1228, which mandated a $20 minimum wage for fast food workers starting in April 2024, was heralded by Sacramento legislators as a watershed moment for labor rights. However, a year and a half later, the data points a starkly different picture, one of shuttered storefronts, reduced working hours, and a consumer base that is finally balked at the price of a burger. According to a recent analysis highlighted by Mario, that's the one we just heard from, that legislation has precipitated the loss of 19,000 fast food jobs. It's it's like, what did you think would happen? You can't just tweak an industry. I'm not saying that these workers aren't worth $20 an hour, but most of these jobs are entry level and they're not meant to feed a family. Right? They're just not. They're meant for kids to get their start in the employment industry, get their start just working a job. You're not meant to be able to take care of a family of 4. If you want to do that, this is a pay-to-play economy. You can't just sit around and go, I hope somebody gives me a job, because that ain't happening. It's especially not happening in the fast food industry. And we've had the same thing happen here in Seattle with our Uber, with our DoorDash, with our restaurant workers. We've got the highest in restaurant, sit-in dining, whatever that's called, in the United States, in Seattle, the highest takeout, the highest Ubers, just driving people around because of the minimum wage, the highest DoorDash prices in the United States. You've got layer after layer after layer of fees that take an $18 burrito, and by the time you get it to your door, it's like $32. A burrito is $32 in Seattle because of all this nonsense. Now, you might say, but Sean, that's a damn good burrito. I'm like, okay. I don't care how good the burrito is. It ain't worth $32. I'll be getting one of those big box packs from Costco, right? I'm going to get my breakfast burrito. It's going to be $1.70 per. Yeah, just had that conversation with my guy that's going to law school at Gonzaga. He's been staying at my house during Thanksgiving while I went down to Oklahoma City. And to the young man who said, hey, really appreciate your work or whatever you said to me at SeaTac a couple of days after Thanksgiving, appreciate your gesture. I had just gotten off the plane. I had just deboarded and I was thinking about something just wildly unrelated. Whenever somebody comes up to talk to me about the podcast, I always assume that I've done something wrong. Like, oh, what did I do now? Because somebody's coming up to talk to me randomly. And I just kind of, I nodded to you, young man, and I gave you a nod because I think I heard what you said. And I appreciate that. If you see me out in the wild, say hi. I love talking with fans, not fans, people who watch whatever this is, right? And, but sometimes I can't hear because I've spent the last 40 years going to really loud rock concerts and my hearing is not stellar. What? Yeah. So for the workers who remain, the promise of higher hourly wage has been undercut by reduction in billable hours. Franchisees operating on razor-thin margins, typically ranging between 3 and 5%, cannot absorb a 25% spike in labor costs without adjusting the other side of the equation. What? I don't get it. They're just printing money hand over fist. Every burger's like $10 profit, isn't it? Well, it's not. 3 and 5% margin. And you hear this from business owners. We heard this from a Redmond business owner who had some kind of online deal. And he's like, hey, we have super thin margins. We can't take the online tax that Washington State just layered on top of us. We can't take it. Can't do it. So I'm no longer operating in Washington State. And you know what the Democrats do? Oh, well, there's plenty more fish in the sea where he came from. Menu inflation and the consumer breaking point. Now, we recently had Rogue Brewery, Rogue Ale and Spirits, I think is their official name, second largest brewer in state of Oregon. And I've been thinking that one through. And yes, less beer has been consumed. Less alcohol has been consumed since the pandemic. But I think there's also the way to break that down is that you can only charge so much for a pint of beer. You can only charge so much for a pint of beer, and people say, no can do. It's like that $32 burrito delivered to your door. No can do. We can't do it. And if you've got costs, if your operational costs, if the cost of your food to go into this stuff has gone through the roof, if your labor costs have gone through the roof, if your rent has gone through the roof, if your energy prices have gone through the roof, if cost of gasoline in your community has gone through the roof, all of those figure in to that glorious pint of beer, right? But you can still only charge so much. So you can't goose these prices you can goose them to the pushing point. And that's exactly what's happening here. Menu inflation and the consumer breaking point. Previously priced around the meals, 11, now frequently command 18 to $22. And who's going to go in for a adult Happy Meal at $22? Yeah, I'll take the number 7, $23. Good Lord. Do I at least get ketchup with that? pushing fast food into direct competition with fast casual and sit-down dining options that offer higher perceived value. That's what I was talking about earlier. Is, all right, I'm not going through the drive-thru because it's XYZ expensive. I'm going to go to the sit-down and I'm going to pay a little bit more and maybe get a better experience. So I went to Red Robin yesterday. I always say I never go out, but I got home from Oklahoma City and went to Red Robin with my significant other, and I had the bacon and blue burger. And I believe that was pretty close to $20, maybe $18.99, pretty close to $20 for just a burger. Now, it does have bottomless fries, right? But they're not all that great. They're okay. They're like eating fingers, right? Eating a finger. But that is a better deal than doing fast food for 18 to 22 in California, right? You get to sit down, some dude brings you menus and you get to sit there and talk, and you con yourself that, and I've noticed that the burgers are becoming ever smaller. Have you noticed that? Food shrinkage. Like, this is a small burger. Granted, it's a tasty burger. Remember when Samuel L. Jackson was eating a burger and then murdered the kids in Pulp Fiction? Yeah, it's like that. This is a tasty burger. So funny. Mother effer on his wallet. The automation acceleration. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't big business do that? Why wouldn't they just, all right, guys, all systems go. Let's automate this bad boy because we can't afford to pay these workers what the state wants us to pay. So what we're doing, franchise economics under siege. Yeah, you've jacked with the economics. You've jacked with the way that business has gone. And, if you need a job that pays more, go get a job that pays more. It's like the ridiculous socialists. Socialism works for those who don't, who want more working for Starbucks. You're not meant to have a living wage at Starbucks. That's like an entry-level job. I'm sorry, barista. You guys pour coffee. You pour coffee. I get it. Somebody's got to do it, and it's an important task. But I really don't believe that it's worth whatever you're asking for. You might enjoy that job. You might think that's the greatest job ever. But it isn't worth much more than what you're already getting paid. So the whole, we need more money. My back, my neck, my back, my paycheck is lack. All right. Okay. Yeah. But there's a lot of other jobs out there that pay less and are probably harder because you guys are pouring coffee. I mean, some would say it's good coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't even know, right? Nor do I care. How about this one? Newsom's proposed retroactive billionaire tax. It's going to tax billionaires. Think they might leave? Think those who have the most money might just boop, gone. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not. This isn't brain surgery, right? California lost a taxpayer every minute under Gavin Newsom's watch, new report says. I mean, the stats on businesses leaving and people leaving because California has become too expensive. Every minute somebody leaves California, every 2 minutes, Texas gains a taxpayer. Every 2 minutes, Florida gains a taxpayer. So in the time we've been talking here, 19 minutes, California has lost 19 taxpayers, and Florida and Texas have each picked up 8.5 and change. Each one of them have picked up that many taxpayers. That is how this is going because of terrible policy like, hey, let's just see what happens when we tax all the billionaires. Let's just see what happens. Same exact thing here in Seattle with our new socialist mayor. She's vowed to do progressive revenue taxation, just like Let's Go Brandon Johnson, just like Mamdani in New York City. We're gonna even the playing field, and we're gonna make things more affordable by taxing those who have the means to pay. And what they don't understand is that those who have the means to pay, those that own the businesses, are leaving in droves because it doesn't make sense for them to stay. They're going to go to a state where they can run their business in a less burdensome tax environment. And Washington State is becoming just like California, we are like California Light. We are 2.0 because anything California has done, our politicians seem to think, hey, $9.4 billion in new taxes. What could go wrong? These people are stupid. They'll just sit here and take it. They'll just take it because that's exactly what they're doing to us. They're making us take it. You guys are going to love this. It's going to be the best thing ever. You guys are going to pay more taxes and you're going to love it. Love it. Oh, you're going to say, sir, may I have another? No. And they're leaving. They're leaving. So Washington State is entering into that kind of, we've been slowly, we're like the frog in the boiling cauldron, right? Hey, it's getting warm in here. Getting warm in here. You know, by the time it's hot, you're done. You can't hop out of the cauldron. You're fried. So, you know, the big thing is that the big states, the blue states that are taxing people like there's no tomorrow, they have run out of things to tax. And now they're just like, well, how about the billionaires? Oh, damn. What about Amazon? Let's just tax the F out of Amazon. I mean, that's what Seattle is doing. Progressive tax revenue. Amazon. They've already sent 20,000 employees to Bellevue who doesn't do that. But, you know, again, socialism works for those who don't. You guys see that? Yeah, that's probably my greatest cup. You can buy that merch here. That's funny. That's some funny stuff to send to have family members open up. And they're like, I think one of my the other cups is, at least I didn't raise a liberal. Pretty funny, especially when you've got liberals in your family. You're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Retail workers fall $37,000 short of rent with an even bigger gap in California. Talking about how much retail workers make and how much you need to be making to afford a typical apartment. New Redfin report found the typical retail workers in the United States earn about $35,000 a year, 52% less than they would need to afford the typical apartment. Wages just don't cover, and that's why everybody's living with the roommate, or they're living with mom and dad, or they're living San Jose. Retail workers' wages cover 34% of what's needed for a rental. San Diego, you've got a shortfall of about 65%. LA, 64%. You're not making enough because you've already made the cost of living so expensive. You've already created that situation. They know that they can't tax the heck out of, folks who are on the lower socioeconomic end. So they're going to tax, they're trying to move things around because they won't reduce spending. They won't make cuts. Won't make cuts to the budget. So you got to tax somebody. We're going to tax businesses. We're going to tax the wealthy. We're going to tax billionaires. We're going to tax Amazon. We're going to tax, and we're going to shove it down fast food's throat. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you're starting to see exactly what happens. That's why you got Proposition 50 in California, redistricting. Hey, we gotta get out the butt end of our pen with the, with the little eraser here. We got to go, ooh, and then we're going to redraw the lines because, good Lord, we got enough people leaving and this isn't good. And Texas and Florida is picking up those folks. So it'll be really interesting to see moving forward through this next 4-year cycle, because you got a lot of Looney Tunes that are in office now. You got some real nut jobs, and they're going to do some real damage. And it's going to be wild to watch. So get out that popcorn. Oh, it's going to be good. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.